Hello and welcome back. Now, we've learned that negative justification is very powerful in helping us to eliminate and narrow down the options. But negative justification cannot tell us the cause of the murder. What we need is a positive justification. It is what we use to test if the remaining option is correct. In this case, we need positive justification to show that the murder weapon is the baseball bat. Now, let's suppose that we have not found reasons to exclude the baseball bat as a murder weapon. This does not mean that the baseball bat is the murder weapon. We need to have positive justification to show that the baseball bat is the murder weapon. So how do we do that? For example, the pattern of damage that the bat creates is consistent with the wounds on the victim's head. Hey, but wait a minute, we cannot rejoice too quickly because one positive justification is not enough. Remember how not too long ago we saw blood on the hammer and we were quick to conclude that the hammer was a weapon? So we could be mistaken once, we could be mistaken again. How then do we strengthen our confidence? We need to find more evidence to prove that the baseball bat is the weapon. But I want to highlight one of the dangers of seeking evidence to justify yourself when you're carrying out positive justification. So what is that danger? The danger is known as confirmation bias. What on earth is that? It's the trick that your mind plays on you such that if you have a suspicion or a belief in something, many things around you will look like evidence, even if they're not evidence. And even if you have disconfirming evidence, contrary evidence staring at you in the face, it won't surface in your radar. This is a danger when we're carrying out positive justification. So we need to be sure that if I find that this is the evidence, it is not because I have fallen prey to confirmation bias. So how do we avoid falling victims to confirmation bias? Well, if we have a certain belief, like for example the baseball bat is a murder weapon, then we must do our best to apply negative justification and see if it stands up to the test. I must do my best to find evidence to prove that it is not the murder weapon. And every time I do that, every time my attempts at disproving it fails, then I can be more confident that I did not succumb to confirmation bias. Of course, it's easy to say it. So let me illustrate how that works, okay? So let's first attack our belief that the baseball bat is the murder weapon, alright? Perhaps the baseball bat is not the murder weapon because there's too little blood on it, not enough blood stains. This is very unusual for a weapon that caused bleeding in the first place, right? So that sounds very reasonable, and if true, then we have reasons to doubt that the baseball bat is the murder weapon. Can we defend it? If we can't, then it's not the end of the world, right? It just means that we have reason to doubt that the baseball bat is the answer. But if we have too many attacks that we can't defend, then we know that the baseball bat is probably not the right answer. Now, let's imagine that we can defend it, okay? Let's imagine that maybe we're making the wrong assumption about the amount of blood that ends up on the murder weapon. Suppose, okay, I'm not a scientist, but let's suppose that maybe the physics of blood splattering can explain why the baseball bat has less blood than every other item in the room. In which case, if we can prove this, then we have more reason to be convinced that the baseball bat is the murder weapon. In fact, it has stood up against this attack by negative justification. So every time you successfully defend your position against strong attacks, what happens? You make your case stronger. But of course, we do run the risk that we might find a very good attack that proves that the baseball bat is not the murder weapon. In which case, well, no choice, it's back to the drawing board. But we should be grateful that an attack like this has awakened us from the slumber of confirmation bias. Now, in the world of data analysis, many things are very messy, but thankfully quite blood-free, okay? It's rarely the case that you can easily spot the right answer with lots of positive justifications and maybe zero reasons to doubt it. Sometimes you might have reasons to doubt your answer, even though you have lots of positive justification. That's fine, that's normal. But then the question now is, how do we know what is the best answer to pick? Remember earlier on I told you about this word that's hard to pronounce, corroboration of evidence? Yes. So if the baseball bat is really the murder weapon, then we should be able to find other evidence in support of the baseball bat. Similarly, in data analysis, if something is really the answer, we should be able to find many other ways in the dataset in support of it. And the more compelling evidence we find, the more positive evidence, positive justification we can build in support of the same conclusion, then we can increase our confidence that that is the answer. Remember, one data point doesn't tell us anything. In fact, with one data point, we can interpret it any way we like. But if you can find many data points, many different pieces of evidence in support of the same answer, then we can be more confident of that answer. So at the end of the day, if you can get many different evidence, many justifications from your data set that points you to the same conclusion, then you can safely conclude that this is the best answer that we can find. Now, this is what we do in this crazy and chaotic world where everything is uncertain. You know, I don't know the answer, you don't know the answer, your boss doesn't know the answer. This is how, through reason, through justification, this is how we discover the answer on our own. So I hope this has been helpful to you and gives you food for thought on how to reason and justify when you're analyzing data. All the best, see you!